Hey, what's going on, guys? Here it's Alex with Adam, and this is a weekly fishing report. So I know we had a lot of decent weather this week. Actually, good amount of fishing for some guys, depending on the area where you were. But the rain did affect a little bit in the Upper Bay area. Middle to Lower Bay wasn't that bad. Not a lot of stuff out there on the water, but primarily everybody has been talking about is the I guess shallow water bite for other than rockfish. Actually, so, you know, we're catching a lot of different stuff when it comes to it, with puppy drum, small flounder, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's been one of those summers now that we are catching decent amount of puppy drum, and surprisingly a lot of slot size, you know, redfish, if you want to call them puppy drum, redfish, whatever, same thing. But there's been plenty of them, and besides that, the striped bass fishing's been okay in most areas, and certain areas better than others. But we'll talk about your shallow water fishing, and of course, starting here in the Annapolis area, everybody's been, you know, going out targeting perch on the shorelines, and surprisingly getting some redfish. And I know, you know, you fish mainly a little bit farther south, but for us here, it's, you know, not common to see them, and when we do see them, they're not that big, and most of the fish we're actually seeing are almost keeper size, if not even keeper size fish. When you're perch fishing out there, obviously everybody's used to throwing the little spinners, perch hounders. That's what classic. One little thing I do recommend if you want to target a little bit bigger game like those puppy drum and striped bass is this little silver minnow. I don't know if you ever mess with this, but it's a great lure, especially it's also, you can make it weedless. It's got a little weed guard there, a lot of action. You can almost use like a flutter spoon at times if you want to let it sink throughout, you know, little ledges and whatnot. But down your way, I know you use some stuff that's kind of similar to here. So how's the fishing been down a little bit south from here?
Yeah, so a little bit south from here, I've been doing a lot of fishing in the chop tank, doing a lot of perch, a lot of rockfish. There's been some drum mixed in with the perch. A lot of times when I've been perch fishing, especially with the perch pounders, I've been finding myself getting short struck, you know, getting a lot of bites, not landing those fish. So something that helps with that is this Procure gel. This is the Menhaden scent. It's gonna give some flavor and some scent to your lure. It's gonna stink it up, and it's gonna give you that extra second to set the hook when a fish bites it. In terms of rockfish, same thing as it's been in our typical summer patterns. You know, early morning and in the evening, they're pushing bait shallow. They're pushing it on rock structure. So if you grab a 4-inch paddle tail like this, cast it into the rocks, lighter head. This is on a 1/4 ounce head. Bounce it over those rocks, and you should get into some fish.
As we're getting now closer to what we call, you know, that late summer bite, we're going to start seeing a lot more bait in the channel edges, or even in shallow, with a lot of rain minnows, you know, anchovies, etc. mixed in. And you're going to start to see the classic transitioning into some of the fall stuff with breaking fish. Obviously, when the tide changes is going to be your best bet. And when you're doing that, remember, there's going to be all kinds of stuff mixed in, whether it's going to be striped bass, bluefish, depending on where you are, even mackerel down south. Sting silvers are going to be the way to go. Any kind of metal jig like this is one thing you need to have in your tackle box, especially from the summer to the fall. This is going to be one of your most productive lures here. And when we're talking about areas right now to go fishing, if you really want to target those puppy drum, and I will say, not guaranteed, but definitely getting to a few of them, you definitely got to go south. And I will say for everybody around here, when we're talking about south, we're talking about probably South River and south of there. So when we're talking about Chesapeake Beach, Solomon's, and the Patuxent, on your side of the bridge, you know, you're talking about anywhere in the chop tank, little chop tank, Hoopersville, any of those areas, you can trailer down there and catch some consistency of, you know, other species besides just striped bass and perch. Now up here, you're going to be kind of like gambling a little more. It might not be as consistent, but if I were to go in a place and shallow water fish and fish structure around this area, will be Eastern Bay for sure. A lot of structure, a lot of places where you can go, anywhere from like Tillman Point all the way to the Narrows. You'll probably be catching a lot of different species there. Now moving to some deeper water stuff and some trolling. I know you guys went trolling down south and did really well with the mackerel, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on that note of trying to get into some other species besides your normal, perch, rockfish, I went with Ryan down to the lower bay and we were trolling for mackerel and bluefish. We did really well. We got our limit of bluefish and around 20 mackerel. We were trolling just little spoons like this, #1 spoons, white and gold and pink on #1 planers, and we were just trolling a ledge, 40 to 80 feet of water, and we were getting into
How fast were you guys going?
About 7-8 miles an hour.
Yep.
Once we limited out on blues, we bumped it up to closer to 8. But you definitely want to troll pretty fast for these guys.
Yep, for sure. And remember, get down there. As we get deeper into this, once again, next few weeks, hopefully we get a push for those mackerel closer to home, right around Poplar. Haven't heard too much about consistency being there for mackerel, but if you're willing to, shoot your shot, you might get a few of them, maybe one. So once again, I will probably say once we get closer to September here, that's when going to be the time when we get those mackerel closer to home. Other than that, crabbing. Let's talk about that.
Crabbing's been really, really good. I've been doing some of the best crabbing of the summer so far. They're staying pretty shallow,
Nice.
at least where I've been catching them, like 3 to 6 feet of water. Pole traps are doing well. On calmer days, the hand lines are working really well too.
Nice.
It's a great option to do if you're going crabbing with kids and stuff like that. And if you're on private property, throw out some pots, get some frozen LY in there, some razor clams, and you should hopefully get yourself a good number of crabs.
Get out there, guys. Remember, the fishing's going to keep getting better here. Hopefully the rain stays away, and hopefully this wind continues to stay a little bit calm. I know the wind can be a pain in some areas, but you can adjust. But once again, fishing should be getting better and better from now on. So this is it for your Fishing Weekly Report, and we'll see you guys next week.